Before you click away, listen up. This city didn't get powerful by accident. New York was tested, broken, rebuilt, and tested again. Every era tried to stop it and failed. This isn't a highlight reel. This is the real story of how New York became untouchable. Long before skyscrapers touched the sky, the land that would become New York City was home to the Lenape Native American people. They lived along rivers, forests, and wetlands, using the land for fishing, farming, and trade. To them, land was not something to own, it was something to share. Life moved slowly and in balance with nature. In 1624, Dutch settlers arrived from Europe. They were not looking to build a great city. They wanted profit. They created a small settlement called New Amsterdam, focused mainly on the fur trade. The settlement was rough and unplanned. Streets were muddy, homes were wooden, and disease was common. The Dutch claimed they purchased Manhattan, but the Lenape people did not understand land ownership the same way. This misunderstanding would shape the city's future forever. In 1664, British ships entered the harbor. The Dutch surrendered without a fight. New Amsterdam was renamed New York after the Duke of York. Under British control, the city became more organized, trade expanded, ports grew busier, and New York began to matter in the Atlantic world. During the American Revolution, New York became a center of conflict. The British occupied the city for years. Fires destroyed large areas, and thousands of soldiers and prisoners crowded the streets. Many believed the city would never recover, but New York survived. After independence, New York briefly became the capital of the United States. George Washington was sworn in here. Even after the capital moved, New York continued to grow faster than any other American city. In the 19th century, everything changed. Millions of immigrants arrived from Europe and beyond, passing through Ellis Island. They came with hope, but little else. These immigrants built the city with hard labor factories, bridges, railroads, and neighborhoods. New York became a city of languages, religions, and cultures, living side by side. As industry expanded, Wall Street rose in importance. What began as a simple street named after a wooden wall became the center of global finance. Banks, stock markets, and corporations shaped economies far beyond America. In the early 20th century, New York reached upward. Skyscrapers like the Empire State Building symbolized ambition. Even during hard times like the Great Depression, the city refused to stop building, even when the world struggled. New York also became a cultural force. Music, theater, newspapers, fashion, and later film and television spread New York's influence worldwide. From Broadway to hip-hop, the city shaped global culture. Today, New York is a city of extremes, wealth and struggle, silence and noise, tradition and history. Every building remembers the past. New York did not become powerful because it was perfect. It became powerful because it adapted, survived, and kept moving forward. New York did not become powerful because it was perfect. It became powerful because it adapted, survived, and kept moving forward. Learning from every mistake, rebuilding after every disaster, and turning moments of crisis into opportunities for growth. Through wars, fires, economic collapse, and social change, the city refused to stop. Each generation added something new, and over time, those small changes created a city that could influence the entire world. What makes New York different is not its buildings or its wealth, but its ability to begin again. Every crisis reshaped the city instead of ending it. Immigrants rebuilt neighborhoods, workers rebuilt industries, artists rebuilt culture. Over time, these repeated beginnings created momentum. The city learned how to recover faster, how to adapt quicker, and how to lead without asking permission. Asking permission, that is how New York became more than a city. It became a symbol of resilience, ambition, and constant change. And that constant change never truly stopped. New York remains unfinished, always rebuilding itself in small ways. New streets replace old paths. New voices rise where others once stood. The city does not promise comfort or ease. It promises possibility. For some, it offers success. For others, it offers struggle. But for everyone, it offers movement. That movement is the true heartbeat of New York. As long as it continues to change, the city will continue to matter. History shows that this pattern repeats again and again. Each generation inherits a city shaped by the last and reshapes it to meet new realities. The docks gave way to factories. Factories gave way to offices, and offices now stand beside technology, art, and global finance. From the Great Depression to the fall of manufacturing, from waves of immigration to moments of social unrest, New York absorbed every shock and adjusted its course. It never stayed the same for long, because staying the same was never an option. This is why New York remains influential. Not because it avoids change, but because it survives it and uses it. As history moves forward, so does New York, carrying its past into an uncertain future. One reinvention at a time, the story of New York is still being written. Every decade leaves its mark. In steel, in concrete, and in memory. What once were warehouses become neighborhoods. What once were struggles become lessons. The city stands as proof that history is not static. It is shaped by people who arrive, by systems that rise and fall, and by the willingness to rebuild instead of retreat. New York does not erase its past, it builds on top of it, and in doing so, it reminds us that power does not come from perfection, but from resilience, adaptation, and the courage to keep moving forward when the future is uncertain. Adaptation and the courage to keep moving forward when the future is uncertain. When old systems no longer work and new ones have not yet formed. It means facing loss without surrender, learning from failure instead of being defined by it, and continuing to build even when the outcome is unclear. Through uncertainty, the city chooses motion over fear, reinvention over retreat, and resilience over collapse, proving that true strength is not found in stability. But this pattern has defined New York for centuries. From a fragile settlement on the edge of the Atlantic to a city that shapes global finance, culture, and politics, its story is one of constant response to change. New York never waits for perfect conditions. It acts, adapts, and rebuilds in real time. And in doing so, it shows that history is not just something we remember, it is something we continue to create. As long as people arrive with ideas, ambition, and hope, the city will continue to evolve. And as long as it evolves, New York will remain a living chapter of history, unfinished, unpredictable, and always moving forward. And that forward motion is what connects every era of the city's past, from the first canoes on the Hudson to the towers that now define its skyline. Each generation leaves behind more than buildings. It leaves decisions, struggles, and dreams. New York does not ask to be remembered as flawless. It asks to be understood as a place shaped by time, pressure, and people, a city that never truly finishes becoming itself. And in that endless becoming, New York finds its power. It is a city built on layers of time. Every street holds footsteps from another era. Every skyline change marks a moment when the city chose to move forward instead of standing still. New York remains awake, not just in light and noise, but in memory and motion, always becoming, always responding, always unfinished. And maybe that is its greatest legacy. A reminder that history is not something locked in the past, but something alive, shaped every day by change, resilience, and the quiet decision to keep going. That quiet decision is made again and again by millions of people who pass through the city, some staying for a lifetime, others leaving their mark and moving on. Together, their choices form a living story, one that cannot be finished, only continued. And as long as those stories are told, New York will remain more than a place on a map. It will remain a symbol of movement, of endurance, and of history still unfolding. And with that, this chapter comes to a close. If you enjoyed this quiet journey through history, take a moment to like the video, subscribe for more stories from cities around the world, and leave a comment with the next city you want to explore. This is History at 3 a.m.